What if the reason you can't sleep at night has nothing to do with stress, your phone, or even your bedroom temperature? What if the real culprit is living inside your gut right now? Millions of people across the UK and US are struggling with insomnia, and scientists are starting to believe the answers might be found somewhere most of us never expected: the trillions of bacteria living in our digestive system. Today, we're breaking down exactly what the science says, the problems researchers found, and more importantly, the solutions that are starting to emerge. Let's start with just how widespread this issue really is. The NHS estimates that around 1 in 3 people in Britain experience insomnia, and the picture looks almost identical in the United States. That's tens of millions of people lying awake at night after night, with no clear answer as to why. For a long time, the conversation around insomnia focused on stress, anxiety, caffeine, and screen time. And while those things absolutely play a role, researchers started asking a different question. Is something deeper going on inside the body? That's what led scientists to the gut microbiome, the vast, complex ecosystem of bacteria, fungi, and other microorganisms living in your digestive tract. And what they found was striking. Here's where things get really interesting. Multiple studies have now confirmed that people with insomnia have a noticeably different gut microbiome compared to people who sleep well. A major systematic review that analyzed data from over 9,000 participants found that insomnia is consistently linked to lower microbial diversity in the gut, meaning insomnia sufferers simply have fewer different types of bacteria than healthy sleepers. But it's not just about variety. Specific bacterial species are showing up in very different amounts. People with chronic insomnia tend to have significantly lower levels of bacteria like Faecalibacterium, Lachnospira, and Roseburia, bacteria that are known for producing compounds called short-chain fatty acids, which help reduce inflammation in the body. On the flip side, certain bacteria linked to inflammation appear to be elevated. And when you zoom out and look at the gut-brain axis, the bidirectional communication highway between your gut and your brain, you start to understand why this matters so much for sleep. Your gut is often called the second brain, and for good reason. The microbiome plays a direct role in producing some of the most important chemicals involved in sleep regulation. Around 90% of the body's serotonin, the precursor to melatonin, the hormone that tells your brain it's time to sleep, is actually produced in the gut, not the brain. Certain gut bacteria, particularly Lactobacillus and Bifidobacterium, also help produce GABA, a key inhibitory neurotransmitter that calms the nervous system and helps you drift off. So when the balance of your gut bacteria is disrupted, a state scientists call dysbiosis, it doesn't just affect your digestion, it can ripple outward, disrupting the production of these critical sleep chemicals, throwing your circadian rhythms off balance and ramping up inflammation throughout the body. Research has also shown that sleep deprivation itself worsens gut health, creating a vicious cycle. Poor sleep leads to gut dysbiosis, and gut dysbiosis leads to worse sleep. Now, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, it's important to be honest about what the current research doesn't yet tell us. Firstly, many of the key studies in this area have been conducted with participants of European descent. This is a significant limitation because the makeup of the gut microbiome actually varies quite considerably between different ethnicities and geographies. What holds true for one population group may not apply universally. Secondly, most of these studies haven't fully accounted for lifestyle factors, such as diet and exercise, both of which are known to have a powerful effect on the microbiome. When you don't control for these variables, it becomes harder to isolate exactly what's driving the changes we're seeing. And there's the bigger question of causality. We know insomnia and an altered gut microbiome often go hand in hand, but science is still working to establish definitively which one comes first. These are real gaps, and they're being actively addressed by the next wave of research. So here's where the story gets genuinely exciting, because researchers aren't just identifying the problem, they're finding real, testable solutions. Probiotics as a sleep aid. One of the most promising areas is the use of probiotics, live beneficial bacteria, to improve sleep quality.
A 2025 meta-analysis that pooled data from 39 randomized controlled trials involving over 4,000 participants found that probiotic supplementation produced meaningful improvements in overall sleep quality scores. Daytime functioning in particular improved significantly for those taking probiotics compared to those on a placebo. Other studies have pointed to specific strains making a real difference. A study of 230 participants found that supplementation with Lactobacillus plantarum helped alleviate insomnia and depression symptoms in college students by regulating gut metabolites. A separate double-blind trial showed that just 4 weeks of a prebiotic supplement, specifically yeast mannan, significantly improved both gut health and sleep quality in healthy adults, likely through modulation of GABA and serotonin levels. Scientists at Jiangnan University recently made a particularly exciting breakthrough. They identified that a compound called S-adenosylmethionine, or SADM, was significantly reduced in insomnia patients. Then they screened 60 different gut bacterial strains and found one, Lactobacillus helveticus CFFM1320, that produces high levels of SADM. In a 4-week placebo-controlled trial with 60 insomnia volunteers, treatment with this specific probiotic improved sleep quality scores, boosted melatonin production, and positively influenced circadian rhythm genes. Fecal microbiota transplantation. Perhaps the most dramatic finding comes from early trials of fecal microbiota transplantation, or FMT, where gut microbiota from healthy donors is transferred to insomnia patients. The results? Over 76% of participants in one trial achieved clinically meaningful improvements in insomnia symptoms alongside reductions in anxiety and depression. It sounds extreme, but it underscores just how powerful the gut-sleep connection really is. And then there's the simplest solution of all, diet. Research consistently shows that a balanced diet rich in plant-based foods, dietary fiber, and polyphenols enhances the gut's ability to produce sleep-regulating metabolites like GABA, serotonin, and melatonin. Conversely, a diet high in ultra-processed foods is linked to poorer sleep outcomes. What all of this points to is a genuinely new way of thinking about insomnia. For decades, the primary treatments have been sleeping pills and cognitive behavioral therapy, both of which have their place but also their limitations. Sleeping medications can lead to dependency. CBT, while effective, isn't always accessible or affordable. The gut microbiome offers a new frontier, one that is modifiable through diet, probiotics, and lifestyle, things that, in principle, anyone can act on. Of course, the science is still maturing. Researchers need larger, more diverse study populations. They need to account more rigorously for diet and lifestyle, and they need to nail down causality more precisely. But the direction of travel is clear. The gut-brain axis is emerging as one of the most important pathways for understanding not just sleep, but mental health more broadly. So the next time you're lying awake at 3 a.m. staring at the ceiling, it might be worth thinking beyond the usual suspects. The answer to better sleep might not be in a pill bottle, it might be in your gut. If you found this video useful, make sure to like and subscribe. We cover the latest in health science every week. And drop a comment below. Have you ever noticed a connection between your gut health and your sleep? We'd love to hear your experience. See you in the next one.